Hello students, wasting any more time. We will start with the second chapter, which is the first lesson of your first term syllabus. The chapter is Cell, the Unit of Life. Dear students, the first two pages I hope you all have read when the classes were going on. So I suggest you that we will start from cell theory. Chapter 2, Biology class. And the topic of today's class is cell theory. In the previous two pages, you have read that various scientists discovered the cells and they gave their observations. So, based upon all the observations and findings, two German scientists, the names are given in your book, Matthias Schleiden, German scientist, and Theodor Schwann, they postulated a theory which came to be known as cell theory. The main points of the cell theory, although there are many points, but in your book there are 4 points which are described. The first one is cell structural unit. Cell is known as the structural unit of life because you know that all the cells are all the organisms, living organisms are made up of cells. So we can say that cell forms the structure, or we can say cell is the structural unit of life. The second point is functional unit. As you know that cells perform all the various activities, or we can say that the various processes going on inside the body, such as movement, respiration, locomotion, any excretion, movement of the conduction of the impulses, and many more activities. All these are conducted inside the cells. So we can say that cells form the functional unit of all the living organisms. Cells form the structure, so structural unit, and since cells perform all the functions, so we say that they are the functional unit. Third point they have given is cells die and are replaced. This means you might have noticed that in case there is an injury, your body cells are replaced and new cells take their place. So this we can say that cells continuously die and the new ones will be replaced. So formation of cells from pre-existing cells is never ending chain. This process continues and this helps in the continuity of the life. The next point the given was most life starts as a single cell. If you remember, you have read in class 8 that a living organism is formed from zygote. Do you all remember? Zygote, which is formed by the fusion of male gamete, that was the sperm, and the female ovum. Male gamete and female gamete, that both form the first living organism which is diploid and which we call it as zygote. Of course, these male gamete and female gamete, they too are the cells. But this zygote is capable of undergoing various divisions, and then from one cell, two cells will form four cells. Like this, it will continue, and then cells will form tissues, tissues will form organs, organs will form organ systems, and the whole new organism will be formed. So we can say that living beings or the life itself originates from single cell. Most of the life starts as a single cell. Is it clear? So there are 4 points of the cell theory. Cell is a structural unit, cell is the functional unit, cells can die and they will be continuously replaced, and life starts from single cell. The next topic is cells, how many? Here they have explained that cells, you have already read, can be single celled, which is also known as unicellular cells, and you have read various examples like amoeba, like paramecium, bacteria, you have read in class 8, all are made up of only one cell, and their one cell performs all the life processes. Or it can be few celled, maybe more than one, but not many, maybe few hundred to few thousand cells. For example, in your book they have given two examples. One is Spirogyra, the other one is Volvox. Both these are the examples of algae. Spirogyra is a multicellular algae which has few cells. It is somewhat like this. You can see this is one cell, second cell, third cell, fourth cell. Like this, there are many cells, and there is some chloroplast which is ribbon shaped, and these are the nuclei present here. So this we can say few celled. This is Spirogyra. Similarly, there is another type of algae which is known as Volvox. It is colonial form. If you remember, we have read in class 7th colonial form of algae. These are one cell, two cell. These are many cells. They are held together, and as a whole colony they can swim in water. And this is known as Volvox. But these are single cells but held together. Okay, and cells can be few celled, single celled, or multi-celled. Multi-celled means multicellular, like the various other living organisms like human beings. They have given the example of mango trees, birds, insects, such as many other animals. The next explanation is about cells, how small. Here you only need to get the knowledge and learn that which is the smallest cell, the longest cell, and the largest cell. Smallest cells normally we give to bacteria, which is 0.3 to 5 micrometer, or red blood cells are also near about 7 micrometer, very small. Longest cell, you have read, nerve cells are longest cells, and they conduct impulses means right from the toe to the head to the brain. So they can be more than or 1 meters long. So they are the longest cells. Largest cells we consider as birds' eggs. You must have seen egg. Inside egg, which is not often told, the central yellow part of the egg, that is actually a single cell. Slowly and slowly it gets attached, it gets covered with our extra coverings like the white part, which is the eggshell, right? But inside it, that yellow part is considered as the single egg. So since ostrich egg is the largest, so it is considered as the largest cell. So smallest cell, longest, and largest. Next topic is smallness of cells, a greater efficiency. Smallness and greater efficiency means that cells have large surface area and they are very small. Cells are very small. For example, there is a cube of certain let's say 2 meters breadth and length and height. Fine. So this is single cube. So it occupies a particular volume. Instead, in place of this cube, if we cut and replace it with many smaller cubes, so volume remains the same, but surface area increases. Same goes for the cells. In a small surface, in a small volume, there may be millions and billions of cells. What is the use? What is the use of such smaller cells? It is because if there are smaller cells, it works efficiently. How? For example, the nutrients, that nutrients are taken into the cells. So this will be easy. There more the cells, more will be the absorption. Metabolic wastes can come out of the cells. Respiratory gases going into the oxygen, like oxygen taken by the cells, and carbon dioxide is released out. So like that means, it means that smaller size represents large surface area, and thus it helps in efficient working of the cells. Then the next topic is cell shapes. You have read this earlier also. There are many types of cells. I suppose you remember some of the cells. For example, you might have, you remember red blood cells we have read. They were somewhat biconcave, sorry. These are RBCs, which help in transporting the gases. Then you have read white blood cells in class 8th or 7th, I think you have read somewhere. various types of red blood cells which help in defense, WBCs. Then you have read nerve cells, neurons. These are the dendrites and the axon we have read in detail, right? So according to the function, cells acquire various types of shapes. Some of the shapes are given in your book. For example, your skin has epithelial cells. Epithelial cells are present wherever there will be a membrane, wherever there will be a covering. It is formed of simple squamous epithelium or columnar epithelium. You will read later on in higher classes. Human blood cells, these are red blood cells and white blood cells. This is the type of muscle cells, then bone cells, then neurons, then guard cells, which are present in the plants. If you remember, we have studied guard cells. They help in opening and closing of stomata during transpiration. So these are the various shapes of the cells. We mean to say that cells can be present in various shapes according to the function acquired. Like red blood cells, circular and biconcave, so that they can pass through the capillaries. They can move inside the arteries, veins and blood capillaries, which are very, very narrow, very, very thin. White blood cells are amoeboid shape. They produce false feet. They produce pseudopodia to capture. You have read that white blood cells can squeeze out of the blood vessels, arteries and veins, and they can digest to ingest the germs, pathogens, by releasing certain chemicals which are called antibodies. Similarly, nerve cells, they are long to conduct impulses because they have to conduct impulses. Muscle cells, they have to relax and contract so as to push or pull. Guard cells, they open the pores, stomatal pores. So according to the functions, there can be the shapes of the cells. I hope I am clear till here. I request all of you to go through this topic and please practice the shapes of the various types of cells. Thank you. May God bless you.